Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I'm your host, Linda Andrews, and you've tuned in to the right place to uplevel in your life and business. Enjoy the show. Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to a little live stream. I want to take a moment to invite you to take 3 grounding deep breaths wherever you are. I will join you taking a big inhale through the nose and exhaling, drawing the breath deep to your low abdomen using your hands as guide if helpful, inhaling and exhale. Last one, holding deep for 3, 2, 1 and exhaling, giant exhale, inhaling and exhale. If you are a human on the planet right now, you may be feeling a million different ways, and I want to take a couple minutes to share about the past year or so for me, a couple of minutes to share about what to do now, and a couple moments to share whatever else comes through. A little story about a straw, okay? The past year plus, I was quite disturbed for a number of reasons. And, you know, the first reasons were around what I was seeing not allowed to be said. And that was concerning to me. I think that people can say what they want to say, what's on their heart, what's on their mind, and we activate our throat chakra for a reason, especially if you're someone that couldn't always say what you need to say, and then find that voice, which I can relate to feel like you can't say things can feel really intense. That was one thing. Noticing the focus on different things versus what I know to be true about healing, health, well-being, the power of your body, the healing potential of your body. And mind you, some of these things I was experiencing simultaneously, deeper levels of healing, deeper access to new tools for myself. And without going into the specifics, I found myself addicted to knowing information. I tend to have control tendencies, which leads me to be quite curious, but the desire to know is coming from a place to want to know to be safe, right? To be over-informed, to be safe, to feel safe. And I could witness that within myself, and underneath that all was really a desire to control. So in that desire to be information seeking was that. And what I started noticing as time went on is that I was making myself really sick. And a lot of what I was reading, whether mainstream media or alternative news sources, was just really making me sick. I was like addicted to the phone, to the information, and all with a desire to be safe and to share news for other people to be safe around me. And I was exhausting myself, and which is like the antithesis of everything I feel like I really stand for as, by the way, I'm Linda, CEO, founder of Lila Life, and spent years in my practice coaching. And as the company and brand continues to evolve, it was the antithesis of the work that I was doing. So when this could not be hidden anymore, when I had to come and look all of this in the face, transformation really started taking hold. I had to come to grips to what I was doing to myself, right? And whether your experience is similar, or maybe you're doing things to yourself that are very different, but still the point is that it's not empowering you. It's not allowing you to be your deepest, truest, fullest, most vibrant self. And I think many times in life we can take a look and have these mirror moments and then make the adjustments, and this is very much true. What was so unique about this, though, was that I was going through this time just after I got married, under the guise of the global health crisis, and it was confusing, right? There's a lot of transition to make sense of, just a lot of unique and unusual circumstance. I would imagine most people have felt a wake up about something during this time. That to me seems to be some of the gift, but doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it is easy. It doesn't mean it's easy. There can certainly be challenges and things that you may be in denial of, or hard truths to face, and then to keep going. That's enough about that. I mean, I'm happy to speak more candidly. There's a podcast episode where I get into the depths of it all more briefly, getting back to, let me connect this, excuse me. Stress. I was noticing I was putting massive amounts of stress on my system. Immediately when the pandemic started, I said to myself, you are going to have to manage your stress or you're going to really hurt yourself. And it kind of like I let it all happen. I am blessed with my marriage and my husband certainly holding a mirror to some adjustments that I can make in his sweet way, and still working on those adjustments, but getting back to my daily, I was always in my daily meditation practice, but like I was inserting some phone time before that. So bringing in more integrity to just no phone, getting into that morning practice, some more breath work. We started with breathing today, really being into the breath work. I've been doing some Kundalini practices that I've been really deeply enjoying, really, really connected to powerful energetically speakers, right? I've mentioned Michael Beckwith. I'm really enjoying the work that he's putting out. And just really guarding the garden of my mind. It's not to be in denial, but it's to be in this protective space about the energetics that I'm letting in. And certainly any source of media, including social media, which you're finding this on, can at a certain point bring down your vibration, bring down your energy levels, bring down your feelings of health. I'm going to talk about the straw. I'm going to talk about a couple other stories, and I hope you're getting whatever you need. Today, I was out to breakfast with a girlfriend, and I was drinking my coffee, and I was observing the straw, and I was like, wow, this is a really amazing straw. I don't know if anybody still remembers what the old straws were like, but this is kind of like what the old straws were like. It's that good. So we had these old plastic straws. We had a lot of iterations of like paper straws that would get like wilty weird and just sort of suck. And now it's this straw. And I shared with my friend, I said, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And I was just as excited as I am right now. You know, plastic straws breaking down into microplastics, getting into our fish, into our biology, into so many things. And then innovation, right? Paper straws. And then this looks like it's some compostable material. I don't know, Pura Vida is where I got this from, and I'm sure they could talk more about their straw, but stay with me on this idea. And I just sat in this moment and I was filled with so much hope. And I look around and it's easy to be dismayed. It's easy to be overwhelmed. It's easy to be in fear. And there's probably an appropriate amount of time to be in all of it, right? I mentioned my own process. I was coming to terms with so much, and that was maybe necessary. I hope next time it doesn't take so long. But I went through my own maybe transmutation, and this is this invitation for all of us to process whatever is coming up, moving through the traumas, moving through the fear, moving through the different energies and emotions. This is so important. And getting to this space of what can be, this new way, the innovation. And we all have a responsibility, I believe, to be in integrity with our own process. This is leading me to access higher perspectives. I'm not better than anyone. I don't know more than anyone, but it is allowing me to access a different perspective where I can see more clearly what's going on. Divisive is being thrown around a lot. And another thing that really came up fast for me in early March last year was like, we have to forgive everything. We have to forgive everything. We have to forgive everything. We have to be in acceptance of everything. And a little practice I was doing this morning, which I'll add on some other practices in addition to breath work in the morning practice, I really eliminated stress from my life, like in so many ways, which I'm happy to get into specifics of how, but it's mostly through boundaries and then getting into nature, going on a bike ride, getting outside, getting vitamin D. And so I was in that process this morning, blessed to have, after breakfast, bike to the beach, spend a little time in nature there. And everything I was feeling anger or resistance for, and with doing this practice, I am that. I am a plastic straw, for instance. I am glyphosate. I am, and it's like the list just went on. It was like this deep practice. It's all of the things. I say glyphosate because I love soil and I don't think glyphosate helps our soil. The point is that if everything has the ability to be divine presence, which I believe, you may not, but I choose to believe that, then I am everything. And so these things that I'm like shunning or demonizing or feeling a certain way about, I am that. And as soon as I say that, I am plastic, something different becomes available to me. It's like I have compassion. I want to understand. I'm curious. I'm thankful for all the ways plastics have served, in my life in ways that at times is like so helpful. And I'm open to like what the new role can be. And this transmutation to transcend, right? It's like I am moving through the anger, the hate, and then I'm moving into a different perspective. And anyone that's feeling anger, which I really was like, and anger was something for me that I never really had processed anger healthfully ever. And then can remember 5 to 10 years ago, like feeling anger for the first time and that feeling really uncomfortable, but being like, whoa, I'm feeling anger. And then like letting that move through my system. 30 seconds to 120 seconds is the amount of time it takes to process an emotion. Feel free to fact check that. But let's say that's true. To give myself the gift of processing anger, really feeling the anger, and then letting it move through my system. And in that processing of real-time anger may also alleviate any stored anger from my lifetime that is certainly there, and it's allowing more healing to come through my system. This is important because at times you may not have tools to have processed emotions like you do now. Something like your breath, right? Taking these active breaths. I've talked about on the podcast, the Lila Life Show, if you're not listening, Fists of Anger. It's a Kundalini practice where I don't know if my outfit's like super supportive for this, but you're going overhead, fists backwards. You're breathing through the practice and you're feeling anger. To move energy. One of the teachers that I follow, Tracy Litt, she recommends screaming into your arm and protecting your vocal cords by screaming into the crease of your arm and letting the anger move through that way. So however you're processing emotions, this is so powerful right now. There are things coming through the earth, right? I was reading an article this morning briefly about what's happening in South Africa. And I'm like, oh my God, like food shortages, major supply chain disruption. And it's so funny that it's happening in Africa because I used to always, as a little girl, I'd be like, why am I any different than a little girl in Africa? Like I always had this thought that, man, I could have been born to a family in Africa. And I had this sense of compassion to, I'm so lucky, thanks Lynn and Rock and family that I was born into, but like, theoretically, I could have been born into anywhere and like had the life that I would have had, and I'm in this life, and so I'm living fully in this life. But what's going on in so many, we could spend all day talking, or we could spend all lifetime talking about what's going on in the world that could be like less than exciting, but it does lead the way for transformation. So I'm letting everything really stream right now. Consider this straw analogy of plastic straws to shitty straws to this really epic straw, and how in your life that idea could be working through you to bring light to something that could be done in a different way, a new way, a way that you've never considered. Giving yourself the gift of really combing through your life and looking at where is the stress showing up for me? How can I offload the stress? How can I adapt to the stress? You're already adapting, but how can I adapt in a more empowering way to the stresses? There's a lot that's out of all of our control. There's a lot happening and evolving that is out of our control. That can you tighten up the actions that you're taking? For example, if, say, environmental stress is something that really concerns you, we've just recently had some pretty, in my mind, devastating water crisis going on in West Palm Beach, where as someone who's suffered inflammation and certainly some other injuries that would make me concerned about neurological impacts of our water system, I have to look at myself and say, well, I'm not particularly feeling like that's being addressed, and how, toxins are getting into our air that are getting into our water, and hearing exactly how that's all being mitigated. But I am looking at myself and saying, how am I making sure my organs and my systems are detoxing properly? I've been dry brushing like a fiend, getting that gua sha out, moving lymph, really taking care of my system. And it's like, what can I do? And so although I am not choosing to get a big sign out and protest at the city, I am choosing to really be integrity in what I can do, and calling our water filtration system and asking them, do you filter out these toxins, or do we need to explore other options? And remembering my body is resilient, my body is whole, my body is powerful, and letting that flood my system often, very, very often. We all have the opportunity to do that. And what happens in all this is you start to see all the different ways fear is there all the time. Fear, 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 fear. And then you start to see how it's like it just falls away. It's like, oh, I'm a powerful being. I'm whole, I'm worthy. I am here. I am now. And there's all these fears, and there's actions that are available that can support you being in your life. And there's all these other things that are happening that may not feel great in the world. And I worry, right? I feel sad. I worry about people, so many people. And I catch myself and I think, gosh, I'm not helping them. Me putting my state, my system in a lower vibration because I'm in the energy of worry is helping no one. It's making me really sick, and it's not letting me access innovation, thoughts that are inspiring, potential, new action. It's allowing me to take the past, and bring it right into my future. So we're at almost 20 minutes. I hope that you are taking whatever gems you need. I definitely got in a little bit of a Heidi space. I felt lots of guilt and shame, and it was a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment. How could I go? How could I put myself into this place, this low energetic place? And I look back and I feel so blessed because I can see I can see very clear and keep getting clear. And it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that these other patterns and habits of fear can't take hold, but I can see, and I know we can all see, and I know that beauty and opportunity and purpose and hope and humanity is here. And it's hard not to get into the conversation around God and universe and source and whatever that is to your belief system. But there is a high frequency that wants to move through you and give you access to clarity and inspiration. And it's really powerful. And are you opening yourself up to what that is? And feeling that on a daily basis and regularly throughout the day. And if you're not, take some time for yourself, tap in, tune in, and see what is there for you. So I send this with so much love. I get these glimpses of the future and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. And there will be things that have to collapse. I'm not saying this as a doomsdayer. It's what needs to happen. You know, I come back to soil as a anchor. It feels like a non-confrontational yet so confrontational topic. But you know, it's like the soil. I feel the soil like craving to be so rich and nutrient dense. And I see everyone, all life forms, like feeling so thankful for, you know, this rich soil and how it can, you know, provide nutrition and serve us all, and how this takes this cycle of us also giving the soil the nutrients. And you know, when we are degrading that, it's hard for the soil to be able to produce in the way that sustains life for everyone, right? And so I just feel this like call to talk about soil and the sacredness of soil, because it is such a reflection of so much that's going on in the world. So with that, I give you infinite amounts of love. I hope this gave you what you needed, and don't be afraid. It's easy for me to say that because I was so afraid, but if this can be that hope to unearth a part of yourself that doesn't need to be afraid anymore, and that can tap into some of the things that we've talked about today, I'm blessed to share that with you. So namaste until the next little tune in. Vibe high, my friends. We certainly need integrity around that. Much love. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Lila Life Show. Be sure to share, like, and comment. Tune in next week. And if you're not already a member of the Lila Life Collective, you'll want to be. So take a look in the show notes and be sure you sign up today. Have a beautiful day.